Good. Right, we're going to start on the floor. Most of the session today is on the floor. Sorry, I don't know what's going on with the cameras. Been played with, I think. Okay, so onto the floor, cross-legged. If you want to, you can sit on a cushion or on a block just to bring your hips up if you're not comfortable with your legs crossed. So just have a shuffle around, seat bones nice and sturdy on the floor. Feel the contact with the ground evenly on both of them. Hands onto your knees, and we're just going to start with some nice gentle neck stretches. Good. So you're bringing your head side to side, ear to shoulder. And try and keep your back as tall and as straight as possible. So we're doing ear to shoulder rather than side to side. Good. And then just start to drop that chin forwards nice and slowly. Feel the stretches come through your neck. Bring the ear all the way around and then back through the front again. So we're not going backwards, we're going side to side through the front. Nice and slowly draw those shoulder blades down your back. Good. And then come back to the middle and a big reach up with one hand. And then the same with the other. Good. A couple of these. So you're trying to keep your back nice and straight still. We're reaching up as high as we can and stretching all the way along the side. Good. And then put your left hand down to the floor. And we're having an even bigger stretch this time. So your forearm and your elbow come down and you're reaching to the wall beside you. Just hold that stretch and then windmill back over the top. Hand comes down to the mat and stretching to the other side this time. Try and keep your seat bones on the floor still. So both of your sit bones should still have contact with the floor. If they've come up, if it's lifted, then just lift that arm up a little bit. Good. One more on each side. Lovely. And all the way back to the other side. Super. Come back up to the middle. We're going to straighten out our right leg. Keep your left leg where it was. Nice and straight again. Just have a shuffle around so your sit bones are both on the floor. One hand at either side of your knees. And then we're just going to fold forward nice and gently. We're not pulling ourselves down into our knees. We're just having a nice gentle stretch forwards. Good. And if that feels nice, and you can start to point your toe, flex your toe up towards the ceiling so you're stretching through your calf as well. Lovely. So you're pushing your knee down to the floor, lifting your toes. Super. Take a big deep breath and then fold down, tucking your chin in, forehead comes down towards your knees. Good. And then lift up nice and tall, straight back. Bring your right hand back to the middle. Left hand up, and we're going to lean over, bringing our shoulder down towards our knee, fingertips down towards our toes. So stretching sideways again. Super. Nice big deep breath. Don't worry if you can't go all the way. And then windmill back up to the top. Tuck that right leg back in and extend out your left leg this time. Good. One hand either side of your knee and fold forward nice and gentle. Again, we're not pulling ourselves down, we're just letting our weight of our shoulders lean forwards. Good, big deep breath. And then tuck that chin in and curl forwards, bring your forehead down a little bit closer to your knees. Good, big deep breath, feel that stretch. Point your toe up towards the ceiling, flexing your foot, stretching through your calf, pushing your knee down into the floor. Good. Then coming all the way back up. Left hand comes back to the middle, right hand up to the sky. Bringing your left shoulder down to your left knee. Right hand comes all the way down towards your toes. Good. Again, don't worry if you don't go all the way. And windmill back up to the top. Tuck that toe back under. And then using your hands, press forward onto your hands, bring your feet backwards, and we're just going to spin round on your mat onto our hands and knees. Good. And we're straight into some cat-cow. So tuck that chin under, arch your back, squeeze those hips into your elbows. Good. Open up the gap in between your shoulder blades. Really feel that stretch through your back. And then relax down, drawing those shoulder blades all the way down your back. Tilt your tailbone up to the ceiling, hips forwards. Good. Lifting your chin so you can see the wall in front of you. Then just draw your shoulder blades back down your back, imagining you're trying to open the space in between your collarbones. Good. And then back into your cat. Big press up, pushing the floor away. And back down into your cow, pulling those shoulder blades back. Lovely. Tailbone to the ceiling. Good. And one more into your cat. This time looking under your arm towards your toe, adding a twist so you're squeezing together your shoulders and your hips. So have a look a couple of times on each side. And back through into your cow. And looking over your shoulder towards your toes once you're in cow. Good, and then come to a stationary position. Just get your back nice and straight, so pull your tummy button in towards the ceiling. Then we're going to take our right hand and thread it through underneath our left, bringing our shoulder and our elbow down to the floor. Good, keeping those hips nice and high. Lovely, and just rest there for a second, feeling the stretch through your side. Good, big deep breath. And then pressing back through that left hand, bringing your right hand back onto the floor. And the same again with your left hand, thread it through underneath your right arm, bringing that shoulder and elbow down to the floor. Hips up nice and high to the ceiling still. So only moving our upper body here. Good. Press back down into the floor, lifting yourself back up. We've got one more on each side. Right hand goes through the middle again, down towards the floor. Good. And as you breathe out, just sink down into the floor with that shoulder and your elbow. And press back up onto your hands and knees. Last one to the left hand through underneath your right shoulder and elbow down. Pushing those hips up high. Press through the floor. Come back up to your hands and knees. Super. And then just curl your toes under. And we're going to lift up into a plank. And bring our right knee forwards in between our hands. Our ankle comes across to our left hip. And then drop your hips down to the floor. So your foot on your right side is now on your left. Good, and you should feel the stretch through your glute. Try and keep your hips nice and square to the wall in front of you. Try not to twist open to the side. And you can either prop yourself up nice and high. If you're high, you're stretching through your hip flexors, or you can drop down onto your elbows and stretch a little bit further through your glutes. So it's up to you. Do what feels good. Do what you feel like your body needs this morning. Good, and just hold that stretch there. It should start to feel like it eases off. Good, big deep breath, and then press the floor away. Prop yourself back up, curl that back toe under, and back into that plank position. Good, and then the same with your left leg. Bring that knee forwards in between your hands. Good, left ankle comes across to your right hip, and then drop those hips down towards the floor. Good. And then Again, up to you. You can either prop yourself up nice and high or drop down onto those elbows. Lovely. Big deep breaths. As you breathe out, sink down into the floor. Try not to fight against the stretch. Just relax down into it. Super. And then press the floor away. Back up onto your hands. Curl your back toe under and into that plank position again. Good. Drop down to your knees. Big toes together. Knees can come wide if you want to. Hips back onto your heels. Stretching forwards those hands as far as possible. Big reach. Forehead down to the floor. Big deep breath. Sinking your shoulders, your upper arms down into the mat. Good. And then using your hands, press through the floor. Lift your hips up and over all the way to the top, bringing your hips down again towards the floor, towards your wrists. Good. And then just trying to see if you can draw your shoulder blades back down towards your hips, opening up the gap in between your shoulders and your ears. Good. And pressing the floor away, lifting those hips up and over, big toes together. And sinking back down through your shoulders, through your upper arms, down into the mat. Good. Big deep breath, sink down. Then press through the floor. Back up and over nice and slowly. Hips come down to your wrists, chin up. Good. And see if you can relax as much as possible as you breathe out. Good. One more of those. Pressing through the floor, hips come up and over, big toes together. Forehead down to the floor, sinking down into the mat. Good. And then last one. Press your hands down, bringing those hips up and over. Hips come down towards the floor. Good. And on this one, if you want to, you can look over one shoulder and then the other towards your toes, just adding a little bit of a twist. Good. If you are twisting, just push your hips down towards the floor. So you're just twisting your upper body. Good. And when you're ready, press through the floor. Last time down. Big toes together. Forehead down to the floor. Just let your back rest. Big deep breath in and out. And then walk your hands all the way across to one side, keeping your hips on your knees. Your hips on your ankles. Be impressed if you could get your hips to your knees. All the way to one side and then just hold it there, sinking back down into the mat. Feeling the stretch all the way along the side. And walking back towards the middle. Good. When you get to the middle, just have a rest here again. And then when you're ready, walk across to the other side of those hands, stretching all the way along the side of your body. Forehead back down to the mat. And just breathe out into the stretch. Good. Walk those hands back into the middle. Super. And then come back up onto your hands and knees. Super. Curl those toes under at the back. Into your plank position. Big step through that right leg. In between your hands. Drop your back knee down towards the floor. Unhook your toes. And use your arms to prop yourself up onto that front leg. Good. Just ease into that stretch. You're leaning forward into your front leg. And then if you're comfortable here, lifting your arms up to the sky. Good. Look up towards your fingertips, and if you can, lean back a little bit as well. Super. Hands come down towards the floor. Leave your left hand on the floor, right hand comes up to the ceiling. You're twisting your left shoulder in towards your knee and looking up to your fingers. Good. Hold it there. Then bring your right hand down onto the inside of your foot, so both hands are on the same side of your foot. Roll your right foot out onto the outer edge, knee comes wide. You can either hold it here, or if you're feeling flexible today, you can drop down onto your elbows nice and slowly. Good. Feel that stretch. Open up your hips. Or you can stay nice and high on your hands. Good. Roll that foot back so it's nice and flat. Right hand comes up and over the top. Again, just prop yourself up on that front leg. Left hand comes back, ready to catch your toes. You can hold on to a wall or something if you prefer for this one. And lift up those toes. Stretch through your quads. Good. You're all much more balanced than I am this morning. Good, just feel that stretch. And then nice and gentle, let go of your toes, let them come down towards the floor. Left hand comes down to the mat. Good. And then we start to straighten out our front leg, moving our hips backwards. Pressing that knee straight, toes up to the ceiling on your right leg. You should feel the stretch all the way along the back of your leg. If you want to, if it's too much down there, you can come up to a more upright position. Good. Or if you want a bigger stretch, just fold further forwards. Super. Walk those hands back towards that front foot. Come back into that low lunge. Lift up your back knee. Good, and just pause there, letting your hips sink down towards the floor, keeping your back leg nice and straight. Big deep breath here. Super, and then step back, toes to meet each other. In your downward dog, hips up towards the ceiling. Good. And just try and squeeze the gap between your ribs and your thighs. And press those heels down in towards the floor if you can. Nice big stretch along the backs of your legs. Lift your tailbone to the ceiling as your heels come down, making the back of your legs as long as possible. Good. And start to pedal through. So you lift one heel up, bending the knee, and then swap sides, pressing it down. Super. So your chin's tucked in, looking at your knees. Hips are tilted forward, so your tailbone is pointing to the ceiling. Good. And then come to a rest. Lift your chin, come forward into your plank, stepping that left foot forward, this time in between your hands. Drop your back knee down towards the floor, unhook your toes, and prop yourself up on that front leg. Good. Lean forward into your front leg. Super. And just check whether you're in a right angle on your front knee. If you're too close, shuffle your toes forward just to open it out a little bit. Perfect. Good. If you're nice and balanced, lift those arms up towards the sky. Look up towards your fingers and lean back. Good. Big deep breath here, leaning forward into your front leg. Perfect. Arms come down either side of your foot. Leave your right hand on the floor, left hand comes up to the ceiling, looking up towards the fingertips. Your right shoulder is coming across towards your left knee. Good. Just hold it there for a couple of breaths. And bring that left hand down to the inside of your left foot. Roll the left foot out onto its outer edge, knee comes wide. And you can either stay here or you can drop down onto your elbows. Really open up those hips. Good. Big deep breath, sinking into the stretch. And if you are on your elbows, come up to your hands. Roll that foot back into its neutral position. Left hand comes back over the top. Good. Prop yourself back up on that front leg. Right hand comes back, ready to catch those toes. And lifting up your back foot. Good. Stretching through your quads. Again, you can hold on to a wall or something if you want to, or sofa. Good. Couple of big deep breaths here for the stretch. And then very gently let go of that foot, let it come back down to the floor. Right hand comes down, left hand, and then start to straighten that front leg, bringing your hips backwards. Walk your hands back. Good. Straighter front leg, toes up to the ceiling. And again, you can either come all the way up if that's too much, or if you want a bigger stretch, fold further forwards. Good. Lovely. Bend your front leg again, walking the hands back forward. Tuck your toes under at the back, straighten your back leg into a nice low lunge. Super. And big step back into your downward dog and pedal through your feet again. And you're trying to squeeze the gap between your chest and your thighs. Good. Then add in a little bit more of a wiggle as you pedal. As your knee comes up, dip your hip on that side, bring it in towards your shoulder. Good. And then come to a rest. Big squeeze of that triangle, make that triangle as pointy as possible. Tailbone comes all the way to the sky. Lovely, and big step forward with your right foot in between your hands, staying high this time, and lift up into a nice high lunge. Both of your toes are facing forwards. Lift your arms up to the sky. Good. If you want to, you can shuffle that front foot forward a little bit more if you need to. Good. Big deep breath, lean a little bit further forwards. And twist your back foot so it's level with the back of your mat. Hips and shoulders come nice and wide. Super. Lunge forward into that front leg. Bring your forearm on your right arm down to your right thigh. Left arm comes up over the top, stretching through your sides again. Good. Looking up towards your fingertips if you can. Good. Windmill those hands back up. And left hand comes down to the back of your left knee, right hand up over the top. Good. And just see if you can lunge forward a little bit more into that front leg. Super. Arms come back over the top, straighten out that front leg, and then reach forward with your right hand, keeping your torso nice and straight. And then windmill down. Right hand comes down towards your right ankle. Legs nice and straight, looking up towards your left hand. Shoulders and hips nice and square to the front of the room. Good. And back up to the top, using your core to lift your body. Lunge forward into that front leg. Right forearm down onto your side. Arm up over the top, big stretch. Good. Windmill back up. Keeping lunged forward into that front leg. Left hand back. Right arm up over the top. Good. And back up to standing straight in that front leg. Good, reach forwards, nice straight body. Right hand comes down to your ankle. Left arm up to the ceiling, big stretch to the sky. Good, and then bring that left hand down to the mat. So you've got both hands on the floor, slight bend in your right leg. And then swivel around on your right foot, hands come down to the front. Good, so your hands and toes are pointing towards the long edge of your mat now. Super. And just let your chin hang down, folding forwards. Tailbone up to the ceiling. Nice bent, relaxed arms. Good, couple of big deep breaths here. And then walk those hands around to your left foot, spinning around on those toes. So both toes are now facing towards the short edge of your mat. Perfect, and then lift up into that high lunge. The same as what we did on the other side, arms up nice and tall, shoulders and hips facing forwards. And sink forward into that front leg. Good. Big deep breath here. Then spin your back foot round so it's level with the back of your mat. Arms come down to the sides. Good. Just lean forward a little bit more into that front leg. Left arm comes down to meet your left thigh. Right hand up over the top. Big stretch. Good. Windmill those arms back up to the middle. Right hand comes down to the back of your right knee. Left arm up over the top. Good, come back to the middle, straighten that left leg. Reach forward, nice straight torso. Left hand comes down to your left ankle. Right hand up to the ceiling. Looking up towards those fingers. Nice. Windmill back up, using your core, lunge forward into that front leg. Left arm down, right hand up over the top. See if you can just lunge forward into that front leg, into your left leg a little bit more. Good, windmill all the way back. Stay forwards in that front leg, right hand back to your right knee. Left arm up over the top. Good, and one more back to the middle, straighten out that front leg. Reaching forwards. Left hand down, keeping that torso nice and straight. Right hand up to the sky. Good. Bring your right hand down towards the floor, spin round, softening that front leg. Big step back into your plank. Drop your knees down to the floor, unhook your toes, and come back into a kneeling position on your heels. You can bring your knees a little bit wide if you want to. Stretching those hands forward until your forehead comes down towards the floor. Good, big deep breath here, pushing your shoulders and your upper arms down into the mat. And then just rock your hips and your legs slightly so you're just having a bit of a roll until you're in a comfortable position. Good, and once you find it, circle those arms all the way around, nice and straight until your wrists come down towards your ankles. And then just let your elbows and your shoulders fold over your knees. Palms are facing up towards the sky. And take a couple of big deep breaths here. Good, and well done everybody. We're all finished. You're welcome to stay in that position or press your hands to the floor and come up to a kneeling position. Well done. I hope you've had a good stretch this morning.